think Jona wanted to jump in.
We want to be respectful of time, but go ahead, Sherry, with the response.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at is time. But you asked for this question, so someone in the audience wanted him to follow up. They said, "Great point. Do you have any suggestions on how to increase the female population so they can experience what you did?"
Was that question?
Maybe that is for Jona, because she did say Jona.
Yes.
She has Jona's name up there.
Okay, Jona.
Okay, so repeat the last part of that question.
I'm sorry. It says, do you have any suggestions on how to increase the female population so they can experience what you did?
Absolutely. Just the confidence in going for it. I think a lot of women, depending on, because honestly, based on everything that I know about myself and my walk, and I'm a very spiritual person, so I don't know if you are. Anything that I want and I go after, I claim it first. It's already mine before I go to the interview. And so if that's your personality, and if it's not, then that's something you need to work on. But if I go after something, then as far as I'm concerned, it's already mine. It's already mine. I mean, even to the point, Teksystems, I'll use Teksystems staffing as an example. I was interviewed for a financial project manager's position back in 2019. I was told that I was a great candidate for this position. And so it was between me and another female. And so, but I knew that position was mine. I knew I interviewed well, and in my spirit, I knew that position was mine. And so when I walked out and, went on about my business, I got a phone call within 24 to 48 hours that they had chose the other person. And here's what I told my recruiter at the time. I said, I'm not sure about what's going on, but that position is mine. And she was like, okay. 72 hours later, she called me and said, are you still available? Yes, I am. I said, why? They changed their mind? She said, yes, because the person who they wanted to did not accept the position. She got another position somewhere else. I was like, when do I start? So it starts with you internally about how you feel you deserve to be in a certain place. When I saw that position, I was like, that position is tailor-made for me. I can do that with my hand. I love it, and I didn't have financial on my resume, so that's what I was after. So I was like, nope, that's my position. So how do more women get into the role? How do more women get into the levels that you want to be at, then believe that that's where you're supposed to be and go for it. And don't be afraid to go for it. It may take you a couple of tries. It may not happen the first time like with me, but go for it. You deserve to be there, and we would love to have you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jona. Ardell, thank you. That I could go on further, but Ardell wants to push on because I'm going to have some questions on my own after this is over. but Ardell, you go ahead and thank you.
Yeah, let's. We only got a little more time left. Actually, we're running over, but we'll stay here as long as everybody else can stay here, like we did before. So the next question: is there a preference to work on a more diverse team? Dolores.
I think
it's kind of throwing you under the bus, right?
Yeah, I prefer to work, in a diverse team of people with various ideas that are go-getters, that are willing to test things, try things, aren't afraid. Again, these are all personality traits, diverse personality traits. In terms of color, it doesn't matter to me. But I do think I would love more men and women mixture. That would be my preference.
Okay. Jona, I know you're chomping at the bit for this one.
If you'd asked me that question back in the 80s and the 90s, I would have said non-diverse, because non-diverse treated me much better than diverse did. And that's my truth, okay? But the last 5 to 10 years, with things changing, women becoming more accepting in management roles and leadership roles, every now and then I'll run into a male ego situation. It doesn't happen as often as it did in the past, but I think that's because of the signs of the time. So again, if you'd asked me that question mid-80s to end of 90s, I would have said I love the space that I was in because of the respect. And they respected what I brought to the table, and I loved that acknowledgement, and I got promoted because of it. And so, at the same time, in a non-diverse environment, especially my brothers and sisters of color, they were trying to figure out how I got to where I got to, and I was like, why can't I get there? Because I know what I know. Why can't I get there? Because I studied my subject, which is my VP and my director, and realized for me to stay in this position, I'm going to have to become what he isn't. And that's what drove me to the top. I did that with every boss that I had. I found out what their weaknesses were, and I made it my strength. Okay. And so that for the previous question, that's probably the other thing. Once you get in, how do you stay in, and how do you go up as a woman? That's always been a thing for me. I find out what my boss's weaknesses are, and I make it my strengths. And therefore, they don't want to lose you because they know they don't want to do that part of the job and all of that. And so that's what I did. But honestly, I love being in the non-diverse arena because that's where I learned. People weren't trying to hide things from me. You know, they didn't want to let me know something or educate me and that kind of thing. And then when I got into non-diverse, I felt like if I had come in as Dolores, and the way I came in and desktop and all of that, I'm not sure if my male counterparts of color would have adopted me into their group and trained me the way my non-melanated counterparts did in my early years, because that's what I got, and that's why I'm in this position that I'm in today, because those older Caucasian men took me under their wing and they trained me. They even trained me for leadership. And I think some things you're born with, so I do have that leadership in me internally, but it was educated, it was formulated for corporate by them. So back to you.
Okay. Jahari.